We all feel vulnerable at times. In the game of business, it means showing up in a way that feels like you're putting yourself out there. When we think we're putting ourselves out there, all hell breaks loose in here and it drives us nuts to the point of not doing. And so today we're going to talk about vulnerability, creativity, and how they interact with each other and how you can show up in a way that is just authentically you. Take a deep breath with me. And let's begin. Welcome to Thrive and Serve. I'm your host, Colin Scotland. We talk about how when we thrive as our most authentic selves, it powerfully amplifies our impact in business, in the world, in the lives of those people that we serve. Today we're talking about vulnerability. And we all know the feeling of working on something that we begin by getting excited. Oh, I'm going to make this thing. I'm going to create this product. I'm going to create this program or this service or this lead magnet or this piece of content. And I'm going to put it out into the world and it's going to help people. It's going to change people's lives. We're driven by this intrinsic motivation to make a difference, to have an impact and to be of service. And then there comes a point in the whole process where that initial excitement and inspiration fades away and the voice of doubt creeps in. There's an element of us feeling like we are putting ourselves out there for all to see, for all to mock, for all to ridicule and belittle and berate. And that frightens us. I'm just sharing that with you now, and I feel the fear bubbling up in my belly. Think about this podcast as an example. I'm talking about something super raw, super vulnerable, and I'm putting it out in the world, in the public domain, for people to hack, slash, criticize, condemn, judge, and all of those things. And yet, I'm doing it anyway. Why am I doing it anyway? I'm doing it anyway because I feel that my purpose on this planet is to help others shine their light more brightly in the world. And in doing so, that light is reflected in the lives of those people they serve. So part of me sharing that message relies upon a level of vulnerability, relies upon a level of being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And the same is true for you, however you show up in your business. You have to embrace an element of being comfortable in the uncomfortable. It doesn't mean it doesn't have to be fun or exciting or light you up, but you have to feel like you're acting in accord with that has called you into doing the thing that you were doing in the first place. That higher sense, that invisible magnetism, that pull that caused me to hit record today and share this message with you. That pull that calls you to do the things that you are doing, to think about the things that you are thinking, and to begin to express the things that only you can express. Well, Colin, this is all well and good, but hasn't everybody already said these things? Isn't it already been done? What's the point in me sharing my experience and my insights when there are people far more experienced, far better, with more credentials than I will ever have? That's a question I hear a lot. And the answer is really simple. You are unique. You are a piece of the great divine. A spark of divinity lies within you, and you have been given the gift of a very unique set of experiences, of beliefs, of conditioning, of circumstances. Only you see the world through that lens. Only you see the world the way that you see the world. None of us, no one else does. No matter how similar they may look, no matter how much more accomplished somebody else may feel or seem to you, only you have the experience of being in there and being you. And if we are all interconnected, which we are, then your real duty and calling in this life, in this body, is to bring forth those experiences and share those experiences so that we can all benefit from that learning. What does it feel like to be in that pain? What does it feel like to feel that joy? What does it feel like to be you? Share that. Then that is what it's meant by like authentic reality, like being real, being really you. Share your lens through which you see the world with us. Do that through your content, through your business. My lens has been, and my learnings have been in building businesses, growing businesses, failing at business massively, losing everything I own in the world, and then working back to get that back again in a new form, in a new guise, like the phoenix from the ashes. So what is that experience for you? I talk about it in the game of business, in the application of these things in entrepreneurship, how we build something that impacts people at scale. That's my lens. That's my experience. And yes, there are people who've had bigger, deeper, greater, richer experiences in the same area, but none of those people are me. Similarly, none of those people who you are looking outwardly at are you. Only you have that unique perspective, because there's only one of you. And so the only creative calling that each of us has is to take that step of allowing ourselves to share that which is important to us, and that interpretation of universal truth that is important to all of us, to every single one of us on this planet. And when you do that, it's quite scary, because you are stepping out. I'm reminded of the Indiana Jones film, The Last Crusade, with Sean Connery. And at the end, it's the leap of faith, one of the challenges to get to the Holy Grail, the goblet, the chalice. And Indiana is like faced with this giant chasm, and it drops all the way down to infinity in both ends, and it's bigger than you could leap in a single step. But he has to take a leap of faith and step out into what is apparently a void, where he's going to just drop down to his certain death. It's a lovely moment in the film. And he takes the leap of faith, and he steps down, and he puts his leg out, and he closes his eyes, and you can see he's nervous, and he lets his foot fall. And rather than falling into nothingness, bang, he hits rock solid. He hits a pathway that he couldn't see before he took the leap. Because of the perspective that he was in, he couldn't see that there was a rock solid pathway in front of him. It looked like void, darkness, certain death. That is the same feeling we all get when we commit to creative work, when we commit to doing work that makes a difference, to doing work that impacts people's lives in a positive way, that helps others, that serves humanity and the elevation of consciousness throughout the entire creation. When we commit to doing that, we are like Indiana Jones, stood at the edge, clinging onto the cliff edge, holding our foot in the air, not wanting to put it down, just not wanting to do it, because it feels scary as hell. It feels awful. It's like, oh no, I am sure to die. I am sure to put my foot down and fall all the way down into the abyss. It is just perspective. The moment you put your foot out and you take that leap, boom, you hit solid rock. And you realize that that perspective was what made it look like you were going into the abyss. Indy just sprinkles a bit of sand onto this rock, and then all of a sudden you can see that it's just a pathway that takes him all the way across the chasm. Our experience is a little different. When we lift our foot and we drop it down in front of us, we then are essentially back at the beginning. So we have to lift our foot again and put it down in front of us. So almost every step we take creatively is a leap of faith. It's a leap into the unknown. There's a beautiful saying from the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna talks about following your Dharma. Following your Dharma, that which you feel called to do, and doing it full out. No holding back, just doing it full out. Being fully you in that work, putting yourself into it, and sharing your experience and interpretation. And then here's the kicker. With zero attachment to the outcome. Zero attachment to the outcome. That's massive. Because now all of a sudden, that leap, which feels so scary, that we know we have to take one after the other, all of a sudden, we've now got no weight of expectation. That this is something that's going to go crazy viral on the internet, that millions of people are going to look at this, that my bank account's going to fill to overflowing. And all of those expectations of outcome, we let them go. We let them go. And in letting them go, we're able to show up in the work more authentically as ourselves. We're able to follow Krishna's guidance. We're able to follow our Dharma and do it full out. Do it full out without expectation, without attachment to a specific outcome. Because that, my friend, is what will stop you lifting your foot up and putting it in front of the other in that leap of faith. Because, mark my words, you will be judging yourself. You will be criticizing yourself. This has got less views than that, and that person's much better than I, and I'm down here at the bottom of the mountain, and that person's up at the pinnacle, waving a flag, saying how easy and amazing it is to be up there. And all of a sudden, the energy shifts in you. The energy shifts to one of judgment, self-criticism, and doubt. And when that doubt is fueled, your vibration changes, the way you show up changes, the way that you create changes, and therefore the results that you see change. So the thing in all of this is to live in that energy of abundant creative flow, to live in that energy of fulfilling and following your Dharma, that invisible pull that we all feel to do something that feels in integrity with our soul, with the universal consciousness, with the collective wisdom, with the advancement of the whole of society. No matter how small, it can be in the tiniest of details, the tiniest of circumstances. It doesn't have to be a big, giant, grandiose thing. It's just in how you show up to meet the world around you. Every day, every interaction. And doing that with love, with integrity, with compassion. Not just for those around you, but for you. For you, because you are the one that will stop yourself from lifting your foot and putting it down into the abyss, or the apparent abyss. Because remember, you met with a rock, or a net, or a safe, or something. It's never the abyss. It just feels and looks like the abyss before you put your foot down. And you will stop yourself from doing that. You will prevent yourself from making that forward progress, from putting that work out there, from saying those things that only you can say, and from that perspective that only you see and experience and feel and touch and smell and taste. Share that with the world. Be creative. Own your message. Just be you in the world, in how you show up. Put that out there. People want to see and hear and feel what it's like to be you. And then whatever lens, whatever circumstance, whatever your experience is, that's the lens through which you express it. So for me, it's taking this stuff, these universal truths, into the world of business, and how we then show up in our business authentically, how we create content that positions us as the thought leader in our space. And it all starts with that why, that following your Dharma and doing it full out. And it rarely matters what the context is, even though the context is different every single time. It's the nature of human existence. Follow your Dharma, do it full out. Let go of any expectation and live in that energy of creativity, of love, and of vulnerability. Because remember, you will face that fear and you will put your foot down and realize that there's a rock solid pathway underneath. But then the very next time that you lift your foot, that pathway will disappear and you will feel like you are faced with the abyss once more. It never goes away, no matter how much you progress on the journey. And so the more that you do, the more that you're able to trust, to create, to put it out, and to trust. Thank you so much for joining me today on Thrive and Serve. If you've enjoyed this content, please support it by liking, subscribing, and sharing the message with someone who you think would benefit from hearing it. I'm Colin Scotland, and it's been delightful to chat with you. I am excited for that next vulnerable moment we get to share with each other. I'll see you next time.